Hey everybody, how's it going today? So good to see you. Really excited to bring forth the messages that I've been picking up on this morning. It was taking me an extra couple of minutes to scribble everything on the table, so thank you so much for your patience. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. I'll be looking at the sign of Taurus today. You can always use my readings for sun, rising, and moon, and they are valid for about 6 to 8 weeks from the time that you watch them. So that's why I do this in advance. I really want to make sure that you have a chance to shape your life, make the best possible decisions that you can. And I'm really a proponent of free will. So I think that what we're looking at today is a snapshot, and you have a chance to either embrace that snapshot or to start to paint in some other details if you'd like to. You are in control. And I was thinking about this last night when I was walking. What we're doing right now is magical. I mean, this is something that didn't exist when I was a kid. And I hope that we can all really embrace how special it is that we can show up here each and every month and several times actually in that month to make changes in our lives. I wish I had this when I was a kid. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of your life. You have a lot of choices here on YouTube, and I appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about what I do, how I do it, how this is going to be structured today. So like I said, you can watch it for sun, rising, moon. You can watch it really for any aspect of your chart if you know that. And the beginning portion, everybody's welcome, because the way that I operate is as a clairvoyant, as a dream interpreter, something that I've started to really delve into over the past 6 to 8 months myself, is, I will pick up on messages for the people that are present or the people that watch it later. I begin every reading with some spirit totems and channeled messages, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Then I use a Celtic Cross to dig a little bit deeper. So we go beneath the surface, looking at all of the opportunities, anything that's potentially going to help you or possibly pull you off path. And that's where you get to start to make some choices. Unlike some readers, I don't focus solely on your person. I focus on you, because you are the one that attracts people in your life. You are the one that creates those opportunities and manifestations and synchronicities. So it all begins with you, and then you are the magnet. And we still look at stuff around you, though. Obviously, there's the environment card, and if love comes through, I'll talk about it. And in the expanded forecast, we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So we definitely get a nice full view of your life, but it would be very sort of looking at things with blinders on to only focus on love, because love is one piece of the pie. So that's how I differentiate myself from other readers. And occasionally I'll do something on relationships, and I might do even something like that later this month because I have a bonus one, but more on that later. After we do the Celtic Cross, I'll dig into blessings and blocks for the month ahead. I call that the soul path. And we have a chance to just make sure that you're prepared. And after we do all of that, then quick meditation and a final card where I will pull one of your psychic questions that you have that I maybe didn't get a chance to cover, even though it's a lot. So one thing that sometimes people are like, why are these longer readings? It's because you're actually getting a multi-part sort of reading here. And if you come back later, it takes me a day usually to put the summary in there and all of the chapters, but you can skip to the part that you want. So be patient. This is my connection to spirit. This is the way that I do it. And if you want shorter ones, they're out there, but you're going to get a lot here. This is like the full meal, not just the cherry on top. Okay. Welcome everyone. If it's your first time here, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining. There's been some new discovery lately because all of you have been great about sharing, commenting, etc. If you are new, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button if you like what you see here, because who knows, how YouTube analytics work and how you find this again. So this really helps. Like it once if you haven't. You can only like it one time in any video. If you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe and you can opt into notifications and you'll be able to keep in touch. If you'd like to show support during this reading, I welcome it. There's 2 ways that you can do that. You can click on the little icon here that's basically indication of super chat, super stickers. I don't take questions. I know a lot of other readers do that. I don't, because I'm doing so much channeling and it takes me out of the channel. But that's a great way that you can give back and say thank you, is through stickers. If you watch it on replay, you can use the applaud button, and the applaud button is squarely between share and the like and dislike buttons. So that's another way to give back. And of course, all of you that are already channel members or Patreon supporters, thank you for your contributions every month. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to business. Let's talk about what's coming through for the month ahead. All right, I'd like to start with your spirit totem. And this one came to me as I was taking a walk last night, something that I started doing just for general health and well-being. I also kind of meditate on what I'm going to do the next day. And as I was doing that, I was thinking, what spirit totem should we be focusing on? And lo and behold, a grasshopper flew right in front of me, and I said, thank you. So I knew that this was your message for this month. And I was also I forgot, we usually see them on a plant or something, but I forgot that they don't just jump, but they also fly. And you can really hear it. It's kind of a little louder than a hummingbird. A hummingbird is more of a high frequency buzz, but this you can actually hear the wings flapping. And they're kind of pretty, some of the wings too. It's an interesting creature, grasshopper, but I always see it as a positive one. And for you, it shows that you can do a lot of movement and a lot of growth right now. So this is your totem, and we're going to dig into what the grasshopper has to tell you. And it was a welcome addition to my walk last night. I smiled when I saw it. So grasshopper. And what I like about the grasshopper for you is that it's capable of doing really everything. It's a grounded insect. Like, it can be on the ground, it can be on plants and everything. So it can kind of walk, but we usually see it jumping. It can also fly. And it's one of the few insects that does all of those things. So it epitomizes to me speed and momentum, but also flexibility. And I was just running out of table space, so I'm saying it verbally, even if it's not in the card. That flexibility is going to be really important. You have the capacity to move and make swift changes in your life this month. And it's important because I saw one aspect of your life right now that needs it. And it looks like there might be some contract or relationship stagnation. So that's the one area that's calling to you to be more flexible, to kind of, stretch a little bit more than you normally would. And I think that would be helpful. Okay. I actually did sum it up in a different way here. I said adaptability is going to be heightened this month. So please, even if you're one that usually enjoys something very regimented, try something new this month. Don't be afraid of failing. I would say be afraid of not trying. So try something new. Erase fear and just give it a shot. The worst that will happen is you might stumble. Just dust yourself off and keep on jumping like that, like the grasshopper here. I think it's going to be really important for you to continue to invest in yourself. When I think of a grasshopper, what does it do? It eats a lot. So to me, it's like the 8 of Pentacles. So I want you to consume knowledge the same way that a grasshopper would ingest all of the plants, all of the nutrients around it. This is your chance to really focus on really just absorbing. Think of yourself as a sponge. So if you're trying to learn something about business, learn a new language, anything of that fashion, I think this is a great time to explore, okay? In the same sort of energy, you might feel like you either want to be a mentor, or maybe you're going to seek some sort of a mentorship or apprenticeship opportunity, because that would be sort of a card of apprenticeship. So that makes sense too. Pass down your knowledge or learn the knowledge from someone else. Either way, this is a good time for the exchange of knowledge. Because grasshoppers have this unique ability to both be grounded and also either hop from one place to another or fly, one thing that I saw is that you can rise above a situation. Oftentimes when other people are grounded, they might be like the inchworm, incapable of kind of going to that next level. So don't let their perspective cloud yours or kind of pull you down. Always look up. That's something that I tell myself and I tell friends, family. Literally, like when I go outside, I like to look around, and I also like to look up, look at the trees, look at the sky, look at what's going on. Because if you're only looking this direction or this direction, you're missing something. So keep your perspective and keep your energy in a heightened place, and also think optimistically, because expectations create reality. You might have to take a leap of faith this month. Obviously, with the jumping, there's no way that I couldn't talk about this. Sometimes you have to just trust your heart when you make a key decision. You can have all the information that you need, all the intuitives telling you what they think, but at the end of the day, what do you feel? That's what matters. Faith, love, that leap of faith is going to be really, really important, okay? I believe that you can change your luck, because I believe luck is manifestation. And so sometimes we manifest bad luck. We feel like we deserve to not receive something. Or we say something like, I never get this, or I'm not good at this because, or I'm not beautiful enough for this. So stop that. Stop Stop casting the sort of negative hue on things. Start to say, I'm ready for change. I'm doing the work. It's time. Open up to it. Allow yourself to be magnetic rather than sort of repelling things away. So yeah, change your luck, expect success, and act accordingly. Think and act accordingly. I should probably put on the card too, okay? I see this one as a symbol, this particular insect as a symbol of the divine masculine, which is interesting. It's very close to what I was seeing yesterday. We're seeing a few different shifts energetically this month. So to me, it's about movement. This insect can move in any direction, right? And as long as you're moving, you're living, you're growing, you're learning. So move in mind and body. And that's something that that's probably why I connected to this particular totem. It was a sign to me to keep on moving. And so what we all have to do sometimes is not get stuck in a way of thinking, a way of being, a place that we're living, a relationship that we're kind of clinging to. This is a chance to keep the movement somewhere in your life. So your challenge each day is to think, how am I moving? How am I moving toward this goal? How am I moving towards health and well-being? How am I continuing to shift and shape the world around me? This is not a month for stagnation at all. It has to be some sort of level of moving, but it can just start here and here. It doesn't have to be like a physical move out externally, but it always starts within anyway. Just like a plant has to kind of get the nourishment before it can poke a leaf out of the ground or something, right? So anyway, think about that and find little ways to create movement in your life. Obviously, these insects eat a lot of leafy sort of things out there. So I would say increasing vegetables in your life. Standard disclaimer always applies here. You should talk to your doctor or nutritionist if you have any sort of changes that you're going to make in your diet. But I think that very few of us are going to have issues with eating more veggies. So try to put more of that in your diet, especially if you're someone that eats a lot of meat or just doesn't like leafy green vegetables. See where you can find some sort of a way to balance things out. And of course, work with a professional for that. Because of their legs, I think it makes a lot of sense to focus on the health, stability, and the strength of your legs, not to mention the circulation. So stretching, walking, swimming, just moving, even if you are in a wheelchair or if you're in bed because you're recovering from something, there are exercises you can do to stretch or have someone else kind of work those muscles for you as well. So again, you'll have to work with a professional for that, but the focal point for health, even in this sort of channeled message, is about the legs and getting stronger there. And if you think about it, I mean, it's important. It's kind of like our equivalent to the trunk and the roots of the trees, right? So this is what holds us up. So if you can get a strong sort of root part of your body, then everything's going to be okay. So there are some great meditations in yoga that can help with the root chakra as well. Let's move along to the next piece. And these are all dream symbols. And some of them are very distinct and a little bit odd, but I always report. I'm a reporter when it comes to dream symbology. And I try to sort of like take it apart and recontextualize it for you. So I'm going to tell you what I saw and I'm going to tell you what I think about this. I was seeing a symbol for partnership, and then I saw a zombie attached to it. So let me talk about what a zombie means to me. It's something that is neither dead nor living, or in some situations, I would say if it's undead, it's not moving in the way that we need things to move. So I just think it's a symbol of like death reverse, It's something that needs to be transmuted or transformed. So if there's something in your life that you're holding on to, it's time to let it go. And that's what my guides told me through the voice of this zombie-like creature. It said, let me go. And then it faded away. It was just an image, but it was a really distinct one that I woke up and I thought, all right, let me tap that into my phone. What it said here is, this potent image really showed that there's an overdue change. So release any stagnation in your life. I felt like for some of you, this was holding on to a person, and it felt past life to me. I felt like there was a love connection in the past life, but that's not what it was in this life. It felt like it was more friendship or a coworker or colleague, maybe even a family member, but you're not like, it's not physical love this lifetime. It's more sort of like, I care about you, but there's something from the past life that you're holding on to. Also, the relationship may have played its course. So if you have something where it's just like, I tried everything, but I can't seem to get this person to like me, to forgive me, to approve of me, let it go, because you're holding on to someone or something that doesn't really want you. They're rejecting you. The rejection is a gift. This is something that I'm trying to kind of help all of us see throughout the several readings that I've been doing over the past few months. Rejection is the universe helping you move to a better path. When we cling to it, it's kind of like what I was seeing, just a symbol of something that is no longer alive, no longer moving. So, and if it is, it's an illusion, because it felt like magic gone wrong. So no, this is where I think sometimes there is no way to like get someone back. You shouldn't have to worry about that. If they're gone, they're gone. And we're talking about like relationships and breakups, and maybe someone that wants to just like, they're ghosting you or something. Again, it's a gift. That person is saying, either you're too good for me, or I don't care enough about you, in which case you're still deserving of something better, right? On some level, they realize it, they're seeing it. So see what they see, which is that there is an incompatibility, okay? It does feel like it's somehow related to a relationship that's not romantic, but might have had that in the past, either recent past or past life. So right now it's kind of in disarray, and I would say just let it go. It's not worth the time and energy. Transform, transmute. You should be more alchemic this month, thinking of what can I do with what I have, what can I make, what can I call into existence, not how can I control what was, because that really is something in the past. All right. The next one is really interesting. So you must have some really transformative movement happening in your life, because the next one I liked, because I'm seeing an unshackling, but it is a warning too. So I don't censor things here. If I feel like I need to talk about something a little more difficult, I will. I'm always positive in how you can do it, but there were two key symbols. One was a zombie. The other one was a contract that is not ready for prime time. I was shown a telephone, and you know how on some phones, I think they're Androids, you can create a symbol. This one was an inverted pentagram, which for me, when I look at that, it's about self-serving motives, right? There's a reason that on the devil card in tarot, the pentagram is reversed rather than upright. So instead of focusing on spirit, we're focusing on ego, self, power, desire. So there's something in a contractual agreement where it's self-serving. And then I saw the devil card pop up. So I would say scrutinize all contracts. To me, the devil is an unreasonable deal. You wouldn't want to do any agreement with that particular symbol. So what you want to do is elevate it. Say, no, this doesn't work, or we need to do this. You want to, I even said it out here, even out the exchange. Make sure that you're getting something and that they're getting something. But if it's one way, it's no way, basically, when it comes to a contract. You should be strong enough to walk away from that kind of a contract this month. Whether it's love, whether it's work, whether it's something else, it just didn't feel good enough for you. And I'm your advocate. And so it could come from a call or a text, because I was shown a phone. And I was shown the symbol on top of the phone, which was super powerful for me. So I think it would come through a phone, text, or someone sends it from their mobile device, and it even says that in the message. So there's something about it that felt rushed. There's something about it that felt not equal. And I think that's so important. So, you know, these two messages were to walk away from stagnation and walk away from something that either isn't good enough for you or seems too good to be true, or there's legitimately some problems with it. You deserve more. You should stand up for yourself. You're the grasshopper. You can go above. You can elevate. It's going to be okay. All right. Let's look at the next thing. Justice will be served. That's what my guides told me. And they told me this so that you wouldn't feel like you needed to enact some sort of retribution. Okay. So sometimes the best thing to do is to keep doing the right thing. You can report something if it's wrong, but you don't have to physically try to get even with somebody. That's never a good thing. What you want to do is detach yourself from that. If you need to file a complaint or a lawsuit or something, go through official channels. Don't go like, don't kind of stoop to the same sort of energetic level as someone else might be in your life. Also, when looking at the past, this will help you with healing. If there was something that happened, maybe it had to do with, you know, money that should have been paid, a promise that wasn't kept, something that just didn't quite pan out the way that you wanted it. Really kind of like a Seven of Swords moment, or the moon or something like that. I would say this is a chance for you to realize that if they haven't already learned their lesson, they're going to repeat it. They're going to have that sort of mirrored back to them, and they'll have to sort of feel what they made you feel. So whether in this life or in afterlife, when they do the review or in the next life, karma can and will deal with this. But cosmic justice takes sometimes longer than we expect. So just trust in that and redirect your energy into the transform and transmute message that I talked about just a couple minutes ago. All right. If you do have to confront someone, we can't really do it so much with COVID one-on-one, but it can be like through Zoom. Face is necessary. So I don't care how you do it. FaceTime, Skype, WhatsApp, whatever, Zoom, or, I probably missed one of the conferencing options out there, but try to do a video conference so that you can see someone and hear them, and try to elevate the narrative. Don't use words that are inflammatory. You want to diffuse, not exacerbate the situation. So if you can't do that, use a third party instead. My advice is probably to let this go, but if you have to fight for something or advocate for something, get the appropriate people. Maybe just have like those mediators or those lawyers talk instead. This won't apply to everyone, but the one thing that I will say with the last piece should, if we just take this out, when it comes to conversations and negotiations, just elevate the narrative. Always try to leave a conversation better than it was when you started, because if you're just going to put a jab in or say something, there needs to be something constructive, and you need to leave it on something better, because otherwise it's just like a sour aftertaste that you're leaving energetically, and you don't want that, because then that starts to create weird ripples in karma, and you don't need that right now. Think of the greater good. There may be people in your life that are not very good at this. They may be tempting you to do something that's not. This is the case where you might want to step up and say, I can't do that, or I won't do that, or you can do that, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Or have you thought about how this would affect other people? So this is the rising above as a grasshopper. You're a teacher as much as you're learning, even though it's a symbol of learning. To me, it's also one where you may have a kernel of knowledge, or you may be able to pull someone else up and say, that's not right. Look at it from this perspective. And then finally, with even the energetic exchange, this is important if you decide to do anything with somebody. There might be a situation that pops up where it feels like, I can get away with this, or I'm going to let them get away with not paying me or doing this. If there's any way to even out exchange of goods and services, you should do it. If you gave something, you should receive something. This doesn't apply to volunteer or like sort of philanthropic things. That's actually much different. That's you giving back because you want to, or seva. This is more, we shook on this and we decided I would do this and you would do this, and you didn't do it, or I didn't do it. Even that stuff up, because this is how you can change your luck this month. Once that's done, you open up and you say, not only am I canceling out old debts, but I'm also going to open up now room for growth and abundance to come through, right? So you have some really powerful messages that came through. And like I was saying at the very beginning, if you just joined, what we do here is magical. I mean, it's metaphysical, but there's a little bit of magic here. And when I was walking last night, I was reminded of that by my guides as well. Like, this is something special. So I take it really seriously. And that's why, I treat the cards with respect. I treat your time with respect. And I really try to organize all of this. So I hope you appreciate it. Hope you enjoy what's coming through for today. Quick review here. It's all about movement this month, as we talked about the grasshopper. It's a flexible, adaptable totem for you. Faith is a piece of this as well. Seeing above the situation is also a key. And then what we were looking at when you were holding on is sometimes there's stagnation. So although I had a weird symbol that came through, it's really just about letting go of something that isn't there anymore. It's an illusion. It looked like it was alive, but it's really dead. And that's why they showed me that, because it had all of the zombie kind of elements of it. And then finally, for contracts, fight for something that's equal. And then the final word that I was talking about there was just to even out the exchange. So let me stack up all of these cards and let's take a look at the Celtic Cross to see what additional information is coming through for your sign. And this reading, I like to periodically remind you, it's 6 to 8 weeks. I do it a month in advance. A lot of times people will ask, so that you have a chance to affect your energy. If you haven't already watched your May readings, they're live now, and this will give you what you could be looking for next month. So I always try to give you 1 to 2 months at any given time, so that you have more than just like, hey, this is what's happening now. It's better to know what's happening moving forward. I'm gonna pull the camera down. I'm gonna grab my water from the fridge because I forgot it, and then we're gonna get started. All right. Welcome, everyone. And let's see what's coming through for you. I'm using the Chrysalis Tarot today because I saw the wings and it reminded me of the grasshopper. There's your Eight of Pentacles. We also have the Ace of Pentacles in the inverse, which I saw. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like this deck too. It takes a little bit of work as a reader because they've changed every possible symbol. But once you realize like stones are pentacles, the spirals are wands, the scrolls are swords, and the mirrors are cups, it just kind of takes a few runs with it to kind of internalize that, then it's okay. I have a couple of other decks that do that, like Wildwood does the same thing where they have like bows and arrows and things like that. So kind of makes sense on this deck, but beautiful symbology in it and symbols, so like it. All right, give me just a second here. I'm gonna also put a link to my website because I forgot to do that since I was joining a couple minutes late. So if you ever need some additional information, I'm just gonna post this link and pin the comment so that you can find out information about how to follow me, you know, how to give back if you want to. So there's the link and I'll pin that for you. All right, let's take a look at your messages here. The first thing that came through in your catalyst was the arrow, and the arrow's pointing up, which is literally connecting to what I was talking about with the grasshopper, which was always think up. And it says surround yourself with protective energy. I would say positive ways of thinking. It's interesting here because much like the symbol that I was seeing in my head, there might be a lot of energy that's pulling you down, but you're going to be pointing in the upright position. And this reminds me like an Ace of Swords, basically, if I was using the Wildwood deck, arrows or swords. So keep your mind sharp, keep your communication sharp, take action. Everything that I would see with an Ace of Swords, I see with the arrow. Be very pointed and directional in what you're trying to do. Don't sort of like swerve all around. It feels like you really need to know what you want to do. So take some time. You have plenty of time because we're looking at this ahead of next month. But if you watch it live, I would say the beginning of June, I want you to spend some time figuring out like, what am I trying to accomplish? What are my high level goals? How are things either bringing me closer to that, or how are they making me kind of stray off path? You have to have sharp aim with this. So what's missing is the archer, right? So, and that reminds me of like Artemis, hunter, huntress, the ability to really go after something that you want. So have that eagle eye, have that focus on what you're trying to do, and try to focus on one thing at a time if you can. Even if you're multitasking, really try to have a prioritization so that there's at least a level 1 and 2 priority on that list that you're getting kind of completed, right? Let's move along into the center message here. We have the 5 of spirals or the 5 of wands. I really love that we can see the fiery energy. In this one, we see the dragon. I just did a collective reading recently with a dragon in it, actually, so feel free to watch that if you want to. The 5 of wands for me is interesting because with work sometimes, which is really part of this, with what's necessary to kind of create something, we can sometimes lose steam. And what I see with this dragon is it has not lost any sort of energy or capacity to make something happen. So this is kind of like when you're in that final leg of a sprint or some sort of like a 5K race or something. You're almost ready. Your body's giving out and you're thinking, how am I going to do it? And all of a sudden you pull it together. You get that extra bit of endorphin kind of pushing through your body. And sometimes we just will it to happen. And what I see with this Five of Wands is will what you need to happen, and it will happen. Breathe life into it. Keep moving. We don't see other people on this one. Usually with the Five of Wands, you would see, people kind of sometimes in a standstill sort of thing. Nothing's happening. So with this one, we're seeing you actually have the capacity to push it forward yourself. Okay. A little bit of extra work, probably worth the time and energy, however. So I like this card quite a bit. We have the Knight of Scrolls right on top of it. So with this one, again, scrolls are wands. And so the Knight is about movement. And with this particular card, it's interesting because I'm also getting that you might be receiving some good news this month that will move it forward. Whenever I see a bird on this, it's great. We also have the Peacock, Divine Masculine. There could be some sort of someone that identifies as male in your life this month that is bringing forth some good news for you. Also for you, because this represents you at the center, the way to keep things moving, to not lose momentum, is basically for you to continue to be a visionary, encourage people, elevate the message, which is what we were talking about earlier, right? Yeah, I don't know what, someone's saying scrolls or swords. Yes, this is not scrolls, these are spirals. So that's Five of Wands, which is why I'm talking about that. And this is, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Thank you. But the Knight of Swords, right? Yeah, it's about moving and communicating. Thank you so much, Kimber. I appreciate that. This is why this deck drives me nuts sometimes. I love when people change things up, but not really. Not when it's every single sort of suit in here. Knight of Swords basically is about communicating, being visionary, staying true to that, and continuing to be strong, intelligent, and kind of like standing your ground. But we also have, like I said, the Divine Masculine, and it makes a lot more sense now with receiving a message. Normally, this would be more page-like energy when I'm seeing the bird, but this one, it's kind of like, let me see if I have it handy here. I was pulling this for someone else. So if you ever look at the King of Swords card in the Light Seers Tarot, you notice how it has all of these birds and flying creatures around it. You want to make sure that you're not losing connection with something around you. Like pay attention to feedback, like I did right there. If you get the feedback, you can correct yourself earlier. So thank you, Spirit, for that little lesson that we all got to partake in. So the feedback loop matters. Take a glance, look around, tune in, and you might be surprised with what you hear, okay? But I like the power that we see here. And with a peacock feather, you're supposed to show yourself a little bit, because when you think of with the male peacock, basically that's part of their ritual in mating. And they kind of show off and do a little dance and show the feathers. So there's something this month where part of the way that you can get to the next level is to stand out. So if you are in a crowd, if you're working with a lot of people, you want to be focusing on how can I stand out from that crowd? How can I differentiate my point of view? How is what I say different? Let's look at your deep past. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. As I said that, all of a sudden my throat went crazy. So one thing that some of you may be experience trouble with this month is, do you hold back a little bit when you're trying to say something? Are you afraid of, I'm going to get a cough drop as I do this. Are you afraid of what people will think or say with what you do? Because if that's the case, it's really important to trust your unique voice. You don't have to be like everybody else, right? In fact, it's advantageous if you are not. That singular approach that you have is what sets you apart, right? Okay. Four of Cups, deep past. It's a card of perspective. A lot of times we look at our life and think, why am I not to this level? It could be that someone in your life is getting married or having kids, or has a better job than you, has more money than you, et cetera, et cetera. This is reminding you that in this moment in time, you're exactly where you need to be. And we don't always have all the different levels of understanding of what that person's going through. Mirrors. Mirrors are reflections. They can also be like what you would see if you've ever been to like Disneyland or Disney World in the Haunted Mansion. The way that they have the ghosts appear is through projections, right? Onto mirrors. Sometimes it's an illusion. And what you see is not what you get. Going back to the sort of devil contract that we're looking at too, this could also be something that seems like it's better than it is. So really appreciate what you have, practice gratitude, and think that, I'm exactly where I need to be. They're exactly where they need to be. And you can be inspired by someone else's progress. So work hard. King of Swords. Speak up, continue to act, continue to move the needle forward, and realize that your moment to shine will come. We can't all shine at the same time sometimes. There's got to be sort of moments that we all have, a moment to kind of be ourselves, speak our truth, and let them have their time, is what I would say with that. All right, so got a lot of scrolls actually for you, a lot of swords. So as we look at recent past, now we have the page reversed. This is about, for some of you, ingesting negative feedback, right? So, or critical feedback. Did someone come into your life and, this applies to my dream. So I forgot to mention this. In my dream, I saw something where there's a group of people, there was a woman, and she was calling out somebody for their behavior. But I knew that the energy of this was going to be, she ridiculed the person, and I knew what was going to happen in the long run is that then there would be retribution or people would talk about her negatively. So if somebody acted up like that toward you, their reputation is already shot. That's what I see, especially if it was done in a way that was base or not very supportive or not very, very elevated. This is where I think when it comes to cosmic retribution, you really want to let the universe just let it go, let go of that, right? And it's interesting you guys are mentioning the throat. I had no problems. I was fine this morning. So we have all of these swords cards that came through. And I definitely feel a blockage in the throat chakra, which is why I have a cough drop in my mouth. So for this, it feels like some of you have either had to listen to this, and maybe this is your chance to speak up and say, stop it. You can do that. Some of you may be swallowing your words, and then you need to find a good way to get it out. Just be constructive. Don't do what I saw in my dream, which is like ridicule. That's why I said do one-on-one. You could go straight to that person and say, I see what you're doing. You need to stop. And if not, then I'm going to have to talk to someone else. But I wanted to give you a chance to correct your behavior first. People will be surprised sometimes when you have that ability to step in and make a change. Page reverse is usually very manageable because it's the lowest. So it basically, you can say something direct without it having to sting, and you can move on. Ultimately, this brings you into a good place because now we have the King of Swords at the top. And I just showed you another King of Swords here in another deck. What's cool I like this King of Swords better because he's capable of connecting with all the different channels. When we look at this King of Swords, he seems a little too pensive. And I would really prefer the King of Swords be open, listening, and secure. When I think of King of Swords, I do think more of like King of the Mountain, right? Top of the mountain, listening to everything, getting a bird's eye view. This one has gotten a little complacent. So I think this month it's really important for you to go higher, like we said, get a bird's eye view on things and really understand what's going on. Listen, just like I saw the feedback earlier, you can correct yourself earlier if you pay attention. So definitely pay attention, okay? We have the Eight of Pentacles here, which is what I was associating with the grasshopper, because the grasshopper consumes a lot. And I was saying knowledge absorption would be higher this month. So that's good. We have the little tools here, which I love too, which is showing me that anything that you put your energy into, you're going to see a return on it. And that this could be a chance to get you a tool that will bring more success. So if there is some sort of a certification, if you want to go get a GED or go to college or do some sort of higher learning, absolutely, or mentorship, great. Also this month, it's a good time to finish something up. So, Three of Pentacles for me is completion. Eight of Pentacles can be revision, revisiting, or just trying to get it all fleshed out and onto paper or somehow sort of the initial construction done. So I feel like if you could just finish it up, the Three of Pentacles would be the final touches. You literally see someone chiseling it on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So just hold some space, finish what you need to this month, invest in yourself, and things will be good. Definitely a good time for any sort of like educational pursuits. The other thing with the Eight of Pentacles is it's really good financially speaking. To me, it's showing me that you're trending in the right direction. You should be paying attention to all of the small details, looking at your budget, understanding what you need to make things happen from a financial perspective, and then just stay true to it. Stick to the budget, stick to the small details. Read the contractual fine print, definitely, with this one. Okay, more scrolls. Actually, so, okay, we have to redo this. So, like I said earlier, spirals, I was right. Yeah, spirals are wands, scrolls are swords. We have King of Spirals at the top. This is King of Wands. That's why he's pensive. This is why I don't use this deck. I love it, but it's too confusing. All right, so King of Spirals here. I'm gonna go back on one thing that I wanted to say here. With the King of Spirals, if it's King of Wands, what you really want to be focusing on is making sure that you don't get stuck in your head. We can lean on the King of Swords, though, because what the King of Swords would be doing is listening, and the King of Wands thinks too much. So you want to kind of go between the two. Have a clear vision, but remember what's important, right? So definitely something to think about. And I did pick a confusing deck for you this month, and I think part of it is not to get lost in the shuffle, not to get lost in the details. Because the Three of Scrolls here is about overcoming pain and not letting something, like learning the lessons. This is probably the best Three of Swords that I've seen, because it's really about saying, actually, I like the one that's in the Little Prince deck. The Little Prince deck will show three swords and a rose coming up around it. But this one is saying, I learned a lot from this, right? And for many of you, you have to just rise above that and think, how can I teach others? How can I teach myself? How can I move beyond this situation? But King of Wands and Queen of Wands can get too stuck in their head. So I think that what you want to be focusing on is maybe embracing the other energy that I saw here. So the King of Wands thinks, the King of Swords really is open and an open channel, openly communicating with all of this. So a little bit of both came through for you. But there you go. I love this deck, but it will probably be one of the last times I read with it, because this happens a lot with it. I think it would be better if it was something sharper. Scrolls don't really read so much as, if I saw a pen, it would read more as swords. All right, let's look at what's going on in your environment. We've got the storyteller, the hermit here. Really interesting interpretation of the hermit. When I look at this, I would say, what's important for you is, what is your story? What is your overall purpose, right? Sometimes we don't take time to think, who am I? What do I want to do? And why am I doing all of this? For you, you're going to be so much more powerful on your path if you can, in like a card here, decide what it is that you want to do. So for me, it's to raise collective consciousness, to start intelligent conversations about metaphysics, to destigmatize spirituality. Those are three things that I do, but raise consciousness is first and the other two follow underneath it. So because I know that, it becomes easier to choose opportunities. If I don't know what I'm doing, then I'm just taking a job because people think it's the right thing to do, because it has prestige, because it's the only thing that I have. So start to understand what your purpose is. It could be to, empower children. It could be to fight for equality. It could be to heal. It could be to love, whatever. Figure out what your goal is, planetary goal, what you're trying to accomplish in this lifetime. And the hermit phase is saying, do some of that work. The hermit and the Eight of Pentacles go hand in hand this month, right? So I think it's really important for you to read up, to plan, to write things down, to journal. All of that is a key piece to this, okay? We've got the Five of Mirrors, more cups here coming through in a reverse. The Five of Mirrors reversed is also showing you that whatever has been lost in time and opportunity, it's actually, we see like a lotus petal here, both in the in the mudra and the way that she's holding her hands, but also beneath her, and then also the crown chakra, which is a lotus. So there's an opening. You're being supported on all levels and all dimensions. So all you have to do is shift your perspective to see that you're right where you need to be, which is what we've been talking about the whole journey here. This is what I saw traced on your phone, the Ace of Pentacles, and it was reversed just like it is right here. So I see a decent opportunity, but there's something about it that's not quite what we want it to be. So I would say in this particular situation, and let me correctly read all of these because of spirals and scrolls driving me nuts today. All right, so with the spirals card, know who you are and know what it is you're trying to do. It's really the internal knowledge with this. With the scrolls cards that came through, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to stand out. And when it comes to this contract, do what you need to do to make sure that you're seen, right? And unlike this king, maybe pull some of the King of Swords, which came through anyway. And I would say, listen to what they have to do, and then you can speak over that afterwards and say, I hear that, but have you thought about this and this? Or I used to think this, but then I learned this. Use your persuasive communication skills to elevate this king, and also, like, it's a double king here. I see a lot of blurring between the two because it's kind of just part of how I'm reading it this month. So don't let your thoughts get in the way of your words, and my throat is feeling an activation as I'm reading for you. So get everything in alignment. I think that's why the arrow came through at the beginning as well, okay? Health card here. We have the 7th chakra. And one of the prayers that I sent out this morning was to Archangel Uriel. So Archangel Uriel's coming through in your health saying, you really want to focus on mental acuity this month, because seventh chakra is not just your connection to the divine, but it's also how well you're thinking, how clearly everything is coming through. And I think that for many of you, there's an opportunity this month to do something to kind of just clear out the mental cobwebs a bit. The other thing that it's coming through to show is that you can successfully overcome any obstacle in your life. Going higher, thinking higher, reaching past something, you're going to be okay. But sometimes we can be our own worst enemies because we'll just sit there and we beat ourselves up, or we kind of feel this energy weighing us down. I want you to lift yourself up and really focus on understanding that you can do it this month. So sorry about the cough drop, but I need it today for some reason for your sign. We're going to pull some cards when I look at your soul path to see what I can do about you helping with speaking your truth, because I definitely am feeling that for you today. The other thing with the 7th chakra is that you could be perceiving some sort of something in your body or something that's healthier or better for you long before it shows up. I had situations in my life sometimes where I knew what was wrong with me, and I went to the doctor and they ran a test. They said, how did you know that? That's such a subtle thing. I said, I know my body. I felt something internally. I'm like, I feel like it's this organ. I feel like this is going on. And I know I have an issue with that. I've had it in the past. I said, can we just run this test? They did, and I did. It's a high level of perception. So if you really know your body, I'm not encouraging you guys to be hypochondriacs. I'm saying that, like, if there's something that's going on where you feel like I need to make this change or I need to talk to someone about this, definitely do that. Don't let it stagnate. Okay. Other messages with health. Some of you might be overworking yourself. The 5 of Wands can lead to fatigue in your life. Some of you may be really stuck emotionally in a certain place. With both the 4 and the 5 of Cups, this can lead to it can be a form of depression, but it's really just sort of like frustration and this feeling of malaise. Not so much depression, just sort of like I'm lost a little bit. So it's a good time to talk to a psychologist, a coach, a friend, a mentor. That's why the mentorship energy was coming through as well, okay? And let's see if there was anything else. Watch what you are consuming. I talked about, looking at maybe having more balance. Sometimes there can be too much. This can be too starchy because it symbolizes the earth. So you could have a lot of starch in your diet. It can also be too, like I also read Pentacles as protein. So there may be too much starch or too much protein. I'm not a doctor. So talk to a doctor if you are having problems with your diet or weight. That's definitely something that that you might benefit from balancing out. Okay. Overall, we're pretty good. I'm not seeing a lot of other messages that came through. The only thing here that I would say with the Hermit card, this is a very sort of like nature-based hermit. So I think getting out in the open or in nature would be beneficial for many of you as well. Okay, great. When we look at wealth, we have spiritual abundance. It says, thank you for blessing me with an infinite abundance. This is definitely moving past any sort of fear of not having enough. So really, like I said earlier, focus on expecting growth, expecting something positive to come, and then acting accordingly, doing things that bring more of that into your life, and starting to see opportunities in things rather than seeing the universe is punishing me or I never get what I look for. Instead, think, where are the opportunities? Where are the doors opening? What should I do about this? What should I do about that, etc. So be open to and start looking for things. Have you noticed that when you are looking for something, you usually find it? Not necessarily your keys, but when you learn something, I've talked about this before. It could be that there's some sort of a new word that you assimilate into your vocabulary. Suddenly it's in the paper, it's on television, it's on the radio. Or you study about, a certain musician or something, and then all of a sudden you just go through the radio and you hear them, or you hear something that represents something that they did. When we learn about something, we start to see the patterns in our lives. So I want you, and when we start to sort of just know something, we start to see it. It's like if you've watched a movie and you know how it's going to end, you watch it a second time and you see all the hints. You didn't see them the first time because you weren't looking for them the first time. So I want you to look for them because the hints are already there for abundance, basically. And we've got it right here with the Eight of Pentacles. One of the keys might just be training. It's a good time for education if you want to do it. This is a check plus plus, right, from the universe. Okay, and let me see if there's anything else for wealth. Okay, so there's disappointment going on for some of you. This could have been that you didn't get the promotion. You don't like the contract. We literally have contracts on this particular card here. So something about what you have isn't what you like. Expect something better. Look for something better. This is a great time to shop around and try to find a better opportunity. And hold that person accountable. Don't do public ridiculing though. Talk one-on-one and say, we talked about this. You let me down. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to keep putting up with this. Obviously, not everyone can be that frank with their boss or with somebody, and you probably want to elevate it a little more. Just say, this is not what we talked about. That's a nice, succinct way to do it, and see what they do. But I feel like for many of you, it's time to release, because we saw that image of the zombie earlier, right? And I think that's really key. Okay. One last thing. Discern. Be discerning when it comes to all of your contracts. Fight for more. There's something better. There's a better way to get to what you're trying to do. The Ace of Pentacles, normally I see is fantastic. Because I'm combining it with the imagery that I saw earlier, I would say the important thing is to make sure that, we saw a lot of illusionary cards here with the mirrors. Make sure there's no smoke and mirrors, right? Make sure that you're getting what you need. Accept only the best when it comes to a contract. All right, love. Expect miracles. The card was reversed, but it's still a really positive card. There's a chance for you to overcome a block, forgive someone, forgive yourself. There might be something really beautiful that happens that you didn't expect. Meeting someone, maybe you sort of thought, I'm finished trying to make new friends, or I'm finished trying to find love. What you're really telling the universe, like, I would elevate that and just say, I will be okay no matter what. I'm ready for love, but I don't need it. I want it, but I don't need it. And once you start to become self-sufficient, the universe is like, well, guess what? You get it anyway. So as you start to expect positivity and allow yourself to be okay with where you're at, more will come your way. Looking at love, there's some interesting things because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Because we have the Knight of Scrolls, we have the Page of Scrolls, and then we have the King of Spirals. So the scrolls being swords, the spirals being wands. For me, it feels like this could be an uncomfortable situation where there's a third party. In families, for some of you, this could be marrying into a family where there's already a very close-knit group. And it's sort of like, how do you fit into this? And so you're trying to find your space. For others of you, it's an ex, and the ex here may have a hard time letting you go. They might be trying to email you or text you. And isn't it interesting? I mean, a lot of times you tell people stop or you just ignore them, but they keep doing it, right? No means no. And this might be something where you have to go to the extreme of changing your number or email to kind of send that message to them. But don't let one person holding on to you hold you back from the future either. So if there is someone from the past that's having a hard time letting go, try to one more time say, I've said it before, but let me just be clear. This is done. And I release you or you release me. We need to move on. And then kind of make it clear and then cut the communication rather than letting them continue to kind of have that tug of war. If you're looking for love this month, I definitely see an opportunity, but it does feel like the other person might be focused more on their life and their work. So it's going to be a matter of how much they can give to you, because the Five of Cups has with it this sort of energy of I want more. So does the Four of Cups. Sometimes the Five of Cups is I didn't get what I wanted, and the Four of Cups is someone else has something that I want or I wish it could be better. So there's this yearning and there's this longing. And I feel like the timing could be off a little bit. For both of you, it feels like, we have developmental cards here, Eight of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles. So finding a balance between work and personal life is going to be a challenge. Whether you're looking for love or in love, or you are single and happy, I would say the personal life could also just be the people around you. You're going to be putting a lot of energy on self, work, and growth. So for some of you, there's also just this little push to come out, be yourself, to get back out into the social sphere, not necessarily like face-to-face, because again, we have to be careful with what's going on in the world right now. But this is about reaching out. And you can reach out through text, email, telephone. There's a lot of ways. So I think coming out of your shell a little bit is the message for those of you that are single and happy. Keep that community energy working, because right now I'm not seeing it. And that could also be closing off future opportunities for you, right? Okay, so let's take a look now at your final card, and then I'll summarize, and I'll summarize with the right suits here because there was a little confusion earlier. Spiral dance of the goddess. So I told you earlier we had divine masculine energy with the grasshopper. So now we have divine feminine energy here, and we see a portal. And what I like about the dance energy here is that there's this ability that's actually a great way for you to exercise your legs too, and the root chakra. So this is a chance for you to start to move and to see it as, there's ups, there's downs. Sometimes you lead, someone else leads, and I like that as well. But goddess, divine, connection to the divine, seeing yourself as that conduit and opening up opportunities. You don't always have to wait for someone to hand it to you. So if you're not getting what you want, this is saying, well, open it up, create it. That's the divine feminine too. Opening and also kind of allowing energy to come in. So you're going to be vacillating a little bit between, I should say, moving between divine masculine, taking action, and divine feminine, opening up. And even like what I was saying with the King of Wands that was missing was the opening and the listening and the communication, which we would see with the King of Swords instead. Okay, let's do a quick review. I'm going to correct some of the stuff that I said earlier, and then we're going to move on to deeper messages in the soul path to look at how we can open up more abundance, what we can do about the throat thing that I'm feeling for you, and all of that. Spirit totem this month was the grasshopper. Grasshopper is amazing because it's capable of walking, jumping, and flying, and it really epitomizes speed and movement. They can move pretty fast and pretty far. I should have done the research on that piece, but I know they can jump pretty far. You have the capacity to make swift movements and changes in your life. So if there's been something that you've been stagnating on and thinking, I'm just not making the progress that I want, it's okay. Things can and they will be better. Adaptability is heightened, so try new things. Just because it's always worked doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it. It's good to change things up, right? Consume and digest knowledge in the same way that this insect would consume plants. Think of it as the Eight of Pentacles, which came through. School, training, all of that is really good in this time of your life. You may also seek out a mentorship opportunity where you're going to be the mentor or be a mentee, and receive information. It's basically about that exchange of experience. You can rise above a situation, especially when others are stuck, but this can be challenging because then you are basically tasked with explaining to people how and or why they need to get out of the situation. So you're the visionary, which we kind of got in one of these here. I believe one of them said visionary. Yeah, the King of Scrolls here. I'm sorry, the Knight of Scrolls here at the center was saying, let's be the visionary. Leap of faith is necessary. You can plan all you want. You can have all of the book information in front of you, but at some point you have to follow your heart. So many of you are at that point right now. Moving is key. As we keep saying this month, you have to keep moving. Change your luck, change your fortune, expect success and act accordingly. Thoughts affect reality. So think high and act in that sort of high frequency as well. Move your mind, move your body every day. This divine masculine symbol is coming through to say movement, action is key. And that's why we got the arrow right there too as well. Focus on more vegetables, focus on your legs and the strength and the circulation in the legs, working with the doctor before you make any changes in health or diet. As always, stretching, walking, and swimming may be options, but again, talk to your professional before you get into that. I saw a union of some sort, whether it's a partnership or an actual love relationship, but it was symbolized with a zombie, which was showing stagnation. And what I heard was, let me go. And then it faded away. And it's really showing that you have a chance now to leap out of that sort of stuck energy and get into something that really allows you to move and to spread your wings again. So basically transform, transmute, transition into something better. Then I saw a telephone. I saw a symbol of a star upside down, which is really showing perhaps self-serving motives. So you want to discern all contracts, make sure that there is no sort of devil energy associated with the contract this month. And justice will be served if there's something that needs to be kind of worked out. You don't need to personally sort of enact the justice. If you need to start the kind of chain of command, whether it's a lawsuit or something like that, that's fine. But they really wanted you to get out of the thick of it. It's not about personally trying to go and make that person feel a certain way. It's just about letting go. And if you need to file something or do something, fine. But then you don't want to waste your energy on that too much. If you do need to talk to someone, don't do a sort of public shaming or anything. Talk to them face to face. Elevate the narrative. Use words to basically diffuse, but don't exacerbate things. Think of the greater good. If someone is incapable of doing that, it's time to detach from them. Even the energetic exchange, if there was a promise made, it needs to be a promise kept. This is going to open you up and others up to abundance. Be clear in your thoughts, be clear in your vision, even though we have King of Wands at the top. I really wanted him to be King of Swords, and we have the Ace of Swords sort of coming through in the arrow here. So use your communication skills this month. They're going to bode well for your ability to make things happen. Don't get off path. If you're multitasking, make sure that, like I said, you're prioritizing. 5 of Wands, you can do it alone if you have to. So don't worry about it. With the visionary here, the Knight of Swords, just like the Page of Swords, we have 2 swords cards side by side. The Page of Swords is reversed, and it's interesting that the Knight is kind of sideways. So what I'm seeing is messages are coming from all directions. Even though we didn't get him, he's still here in spirit. I would say this King of Swords is listening to everything. And so what you could kind of do with your King of Wands here is to pay attention to what you know, how you feel, but then kind of be the king of the mountain there that we just saw, which is, yes, but I have to pay attention to how this is going to affect others. I have to think of the greater good. And then I have to take some action. I like this king, but he's not taking action. He's too stationary, right? Then we have your Eight of Pentacles here, which is growth and movement. Also understand this, your communication and your physical action, because to me, wands can be demonstrative. Swords can be communicated verbally. So you need to verbally do it. Walk the walk and talk the talk. Both need to come into sort of like, the word to me is communion. It's a weird word, but you have to have like a communion of the 2 energies. That's what my guides gave me, so that's what I'll say. This month, it's great to learn. It's great to expand knowledge, to share knowledge. For some of you, you're going to do some writing this month as well. If you are a writer or a composer, you're going to get some new ideas. This is often a revisionary card. It can also be something if you're going to be speaking to people that really watch your words and just sort of plan out what you're going to say. This is the thoughtful energy. This is kind of keeping to the script. But what's lacking was the throat. So you're going to have to be able to know what it's kind of like anyone that's a singer, or if they're going to be a politician, they have to give a speech. You need to memorize it so that when you're in the moment, you can emote. You can sound not rehearsed. So rehearse to the point that you don't sound rehearsed, if that makes sense. There's disappointment to get over, but it isn't the story of the month, not by a long stretch at all, right? In fact, what we're looking at here is you are now more than ever really getting a firm understanding of who you are. You're also opening up to really hearing and seeing things on all levels, seeing the blessings, moving past the blocks, and fighting for something that you deserve. It's okay to fight for something that you want. And that's what we see here with the Ace of Pentacles. If it doesn't sound good, or if it's not good enough, make a new path. And that's what we saw here with this sort of spiral goddess here. As we look at health, trust how you feel. Speak up about what you feel. You're spot on with it. You may be able to diagnose something before someone else can. You may also be aware of something that's wrong with someone else. This could be depression. This could be knowing that something's falling apart. So one of the weird things that happens to me as an intuitive is I can see people's motives sometimes. It takes me a while to really tune into them if they're friends or family. But once I've known them for a while, if they say something that's not true, I see it. I'll see it I'll hear it, or I'll feel it, or I'll dream it. I'm like, I wish I didn't know that because I know it. But I also am glad that I know it. I just wish that they would have told me. I'm always happy to have the knowledge. Let me restate. I just wish they would have been the one to tell me. So you may be picking up on things that you know, but they're not saying. So this is going to help you go toward a healthier relationship, a healthier you, a healthier present and future. So really, that's what this card is about. I mean, I can get into the other health aspects of it, but we talked about it with the grasshopper. So just focus on moving your legs. That's the main thing. Circulation and movement. Talk to your doctor, eat more leafy greens. The big health message for you this month, forget about the cards. It's this card. It's you see something that needs to change. You see someone's true colors before they even know it, or maybe they think they can get away with something, but they can't. You've got this. So trust the knowledge that you're receiving. It's going to help you be healthier and happier across the board. I'm just going to leave the camera up for this last piece. So for the spiritual abundance card, this is in wealth. There is more potential than you currently have. And I feel like there's at least one opportunity on the horizon for you that isn't good enough, that can be revised, or maybe just walk away from it. I really didn't like the inverted pentagram on top of it. To me, that's saying you can do better. That was really for that person. It was an indication that, hey, you're worth at least this, but much more probably. So look around. Just don't take the first offer is what I'm saying with that. And then, of course, open new things up. If you believe there will be more, there will be more. If you believe there won't, there won't. Stay positive and then act upon the positivity. Because just sitting and meditating on prosperity is not enough. You have to see it, breathe it, do it, okay? And then I see really good breakthroughs happening with relationships. If you have had a relationship where the person has been sort of shutting you out or shutting down or whatever, there might be a chance where they kind of break through. If you've been holding on to someone or someone's been holding on to you, the reverse is true here. Or maybe you just get that perspective that you need to move on. Divine energy is definitely coming through because of Uriel. By the way, Uriel is a very strong archangel. This one once told me, I've shared it before, but I'll share it again. She just shared the lesson of gratitude. And I say she, and it's really not gendered. Some archangels have slightly divine feminine or divine masculine energy. Like Michael is more divine masculine, but Gabriel, anything. And I would say Uriel can be either. Even in my book, I made Uriel Yuri. So I believe that it can be male or female, but it came through as divine feminine when it came to me. And it said, you need to say thank you much more than you do. I said, okay, thank you. Thank you. I will use more gratitude. And it was at a time when I didn't realize. I was kind of looking at things and thinking, oh, this could be better. This could be better. And she was like, no, it's good. And if once you start to see the blessings, then there'll be fewer blocks. So that's a message that she's bringing through today for you too. Okay, let's look at your final card one more time, and then let's go deeper. So we have the spiral dance of the goddess. So there's going to be this dance of creation this month. And it's not always the straight path that you have in your head. I want you to kind of get through the goals that you have and everything, but you might also be taken onto a new opportunity. Remember, I said flexibility is key. So the spiral goddess is basically saying, I can deal with that too. I'm going to be able to think my way through that. And that's why we have the king of spirals at the top here, king of wands. So beautiful deck, but confusing as anything. I think that whenever a deck creator changes every single suit, it just gives readers a headache. So I love this deck, but enough is enough. All right, we're going to look now at, I want to look at the throat first because I felt that I was struggling in the middle of the reading. So let's look at what you can do right now to speak your truth. We're looking at soul path right now, and I'm going to take a look at what you can do to communicate more clearly. We have the moon card. Interesting. It's important to deal with things that are sometimes just uncomfortable, right? And it's better to bring them up sooner than later. If there's something you've been putting off, don't put it off anymore, is what I would say. And the other thing is, if you've caught someone in a lie or acting out of sorts, check in with them first. I think it's always good to create a safe space. Say, I love and care about you, which is why I'm talking to you. This is out of character, and I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So what's going on? I think that's a better way than saying, I saw you, you did this, you know, like instead set it up and say, this is really out of character. Something must be very wrong for you to do this, or I don't know you the way that I thought I know you. So tell me from your perspective why it happened, and then I'll decide what I want to do with it. But like set it up just so that it's not sort of like they're on trial. It's just sort of like, I want to understand, are you okay? It should always start with, are you okay? For many of you, you're just feeling emotionally sort of overwhelmed. So if nobody in your life is kind of acting like the moon card, which can be, you know, catching someone in deceit or someone that's acting out of sorts, it can also just be, I'm afraid, I'm depressed, I'm consumed by all these different thoughts, I'm feeling a lot of things at once. So take a deep breath, meditate, talk to a therapist if you need to, take care of yourself, practice good self-care. That's the most important thing. And the other thing with the moon card, it's intuition that we need to be listening to. And so is there something that you don't already, but you don't know why you're not doing something about? Let's put it this way. You need to take action on something. It's kind of like judgment reversed. It's a decision that you've made but not embraced. So I feel like for you, you know something, but you're not doing something about what you know. So ask yourself, why am I afraid? And if you do that, your voice is going to come back. You're going to be able to talk through this. You're going to be okay. Don't let fear limit you. Don't let sort of a projection of a potential outcome limit you, because you're usually wrong. For any of you that have ever rehearsed things like quitting, breaking up, coming out, making some sort of even just a general announcement, we go through all this stuff in our head of how it might go wrong. And then when you do it, it's not that bad. It's usually a lot better because you've prepared yourself so much. So your fears are not probably equal to the reality of a situation. There was a lot that came through, but I felt a lot, and it was with me for about 30 minutes of the reading, and it's gone now. So don't be afraid is the main thing. So thank you, and I'm glad to have my throat chakra back. Thank you so much for that, Taurus. All right, let's take a look at, I want to look at the energy around contracts, how you can elevate the contracts a little bit. Okay, here we go. So we have the 10 of scrolls, and again, scrolls are swords. And Some of you are afraid of saying something that will hurt someone else or hurt yourself, or kind of be recorded in history, as we see with the scrolls here. So what I would say for you, what title came into my mind was or I think it's a song, No Need to Argue Anymore. It's a Cranberries song, right? It just popped into my head. I think it was, I don't know if it was the title of their album or one of their songs, but that's what my guide flashed in my head, was the album cover. So there's no need to argue about something that you know if the other person won't listen, because some people only want an argument. So if you are, this is a sign that it's over, by the way, because we have both the 3 of Swords and now also the 10 of Swords. So if someone in your life shuts you out, because this is in the environment, shuts you down or walks away or walks out, it's over. If you're trying to advocate for something, it could be like, maybe it is advancement at work and your boss shuts you down. We don't have the money. We've already talked about this. Stop asking. Okay, stop asking and start looking for something else. If there's a partner in your life and they just don't want to talk about, they're not listening to you, or they're always arguing with you, they're not present anymore. And so this is the sign that you need to understand that to advocate for worth. Self-worth is also Pentacles as well, and contracts. So value yourself more than their opinion, more than their words, more than maybe something negative that they said. You have to put yourself first. And that's going to be important. You don't have to say it. My grandfather, who's passed, said one of the good things about being old was he didn't have to say he was right. He just knew it. So if someone wanted to act a fool and didn't want to take advice or said something stupid, he just would go back to gardening or watching television or reading the paper. He's like, I don't have time for that anymore. My energy is valuable. I'm going to use it elsewhere. And I totally understand and appreciate that lesson now. So with this 10 of Swords here, we see the power here. This is a powerful totem in the center. So don't give your power to someone else through arguing. State your claim, state your purpose, see what they do. And if they don't agree, let go, move on, okay? So it feels like it's time to release a contract. So for some of you, if you're not getting what you need in money or in energy, then that partner isn't showing up, or that boss isn't showing up, or that experience isn't showing up the way that it needs to. Let's do a wild card. All right, so we now have the 2 of Spirals. I like the 2 of Wands, which is really what this is, because the 2 of Wands sets you up for manifestation. So the good news, and we really want some here as we close your soul path here, is that you're creating something new. See the nest? There's going to be eggs in that nest soon. So this is about setting your future trajectory. I feel like some of you have just delivered something too. So if you just launched something or just let go of something, you're on a very good path. In fact, again, I think that you might have more than one opportunity in the future. So this nest would hold 2 eggs. Eggs to me are also like pentacles. So you have a couple options. One's going to be better than the other. Hold out, see what happens. I like where you're headed here. This looks really good. And this is also basically the conduit to the High Priestess and manifestation. So I think that this is your chance to open up a new window. I mean, if you can really just trust yourself right now, I feel like this is what you've been waiting for. So I had a local healer here in LA once remind me that I was at the precipice. Like there was, think of it as either like a turnstile or an airport or whatever, but there was an opening or a plane, a connecting flight. This is your chance to take that connecting flight. And if you don't, there'll be a delay. So I feel like because it's all about divine masculine energy this month, mostly, we have a little bit of the goddess there at the end, but mostly about taking action. It's time to take action, and it's time to really do what you see. Normally it would be a different vision for that one. You would have someone holding the wand, looking at it, looking here. You have 2 wands, and they're sort of saying, this is what I want, and this is what's happening. This is what's going to come in. 3 of Wands is when you start to see it. The 2 of Wands is when you believe it. You have to believe it before you see it. So believing is seeing. We've flipped the script a little bit, so I want you to believe it, and then you'll see it, and then it will be, right? So anyway, that's the message there, and a really powerful one at that. So interesting this month for you. If I'm just to kind of look at this really quickly, I would say I see a big movement and big growth because, you know, this is your near future, this is your future. Even though that this one is reversed, and even though we were talking about some snags on the contract, we still have 8 of Pentacles and an Ace. It's really, really good. And if we look at what you need to do this month, in order to find your voice, don't overthink, don't think about worst case scenarios. Just deal with what you have to deal with, and it will be okay. It's going to be better than you think. Walk away from a no-win situation. Not worth your time. You can spend it. You can invest it on yourself, in yourself, because an Ace reverse is also deciding to put that energy within. The 8 of Pentacles is an internal investment. If someone won't invest in you, invest in yourself and grow and prove them wrong, and basically prove your own vision right. And that's the best sort of way of getting even, is just doing well in your life. You don't have to say anything. Just do well for yourself, and others will notice. And then keep true to the vision. Hold space for something beautiful to step into your life. All right. Let's get into a meditation, and then we're going to do one more card at the end, and that's the most powerful one because that's the question that you have for me. So as we're getting the meditation set up, take a moment to think about something that you want to move in your life or some question that you have. You don't need to say it out loud. I just think that what you want to focus on is what it is that you need clarity on, and I'll tune into that in just a second. Before I do it, just a quick side note. If you like what you see here, please, please, please consider one time hitting the like button if you haven't already. And if you haven't already subscribed, it's a great time to do that. It helps the channel a lot. And then later when it's on replay, you can leave a comment. Thank you to everyone that's been kind enough to continue to give support through Super Chat and Super Stickers. It helps me do more videos, which I did last month. I did 3 extra videos. I'm going to do the same this month too. We're going to have 2 collective videos, one at the midpoint around the 15th or so, and one around the end around the 30th. And then I have a bonus one. And I might put some questions up for channel members to see what they want me to cover in which of those readings. So more to come on that. You can also use the applaud button if you'd like to. Just a quick note on social media handles, and then we're going to meditate. If you haven't already followed me on social media, it's a great time to do that because I will always put a story reminder on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I also, the morning of, will tweet out what I'm going to be reading that day. So Twitter is the only odd duck. It's Ashbaugh. Everything else is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And just a quick note, there have been some impersonators out there. I will not send a friend invite. I will not ask you for something in chat. I do not have WhatsApp. I don't do readings on email. Basically, this is the way to connect with me, is through the live readings or through the official social media channels, which you can get on my website. All right, let's meditate. All right, for the meditation, we're going to work with the throat because I felt it. So we're going to open up the throat chakra. For those of you that are writers, teachers, singers, public speakers, this one's for you. For everyone else, it's so that you can be even better at communicating. But it's especially for people in careers where their voice matters, or if there's something going on right now and you just feel like, I need to speak up, this one's for you, okay? So this meditation will take about 2 minutes, and then we're going to get into your final question, the final card. So if you have something that I haven't had a chance to answer yet, then I will answer it in just a moment. All right, so we've done this before. I've placed a symbol on the throat, and I'm thinking of putting a butterfly on the throat to open it up. You can use the grasshopper if you want, but I think the butterfly is a little prettier to meditate on. So we're going to work in a field of butterflies, and the butterflies are going to raise your frequency, and we're going to place one. You can do it over every chakra if you want to, but we're going to place one right over the throat, and it's going to kind of like melt in symbolically, okay? Close your eyes. I want you to see yourself in an emerald green forest. Take a deep breath. Stretch if you'd like to. Stretch your arms up. Stretch out a little bit. Relax. Exhale. You can take your shoulder one by one or both of them at the same time and kind of roll them up and back. Take a moment to loosen the neck because the throat seems a little tight to me. So I'd like you to take a moment to just gently go to the right. Exhale and go to the left. Be gentle. For some of you, this is going to be more stiff than others. So it's not about how far you go, just about the fact that you're moving it. Take a moment also to just gently move your neck in one direction and then in the other. Again, not focusing so much on how far you're moving it, just on the movement itself. Focusing now just on your surroundings. I want you to see this as a lush forest, kind of magical as well. I see just beautiful shades of green, every possible shade of green. Forest green, emerald green, Kelly green, whatever you could imagine, every shade available. And green is really key because it's going to heal you, it's going to open you up, it's bringing abundance into your life. Imagine that you're sitting with your legs crossed, your feet touching the ground, and you're going to put your hands on either side of your body and also plant those in the ground for a moment. As you're doing that, you can see green energy course through your veins and move into your auric field, creating this beautiful cocoon of bright green light around you, like a fresh flower, not a flower, but like a brand new seedling kind of popping through the ground. Once that's fully kind of wrapped around your body, I want you to focus on the fact that all of the green around you is starting to blossom. So now you're seeing every possible color in the rainbow, all these beautiful flowers, which are attracting pollinators like bees and hummingbirds, and also butterflies. One of the butterflies starts to kind of fly around your body, and you hold your hand out. It sits on your hand for a second. You can kind of look at this butterfly, look at the beautiful wings. It can be any color, it can be any size that you want. And as you bring it closer to your face, it gently lands on your chest, right around your throat, and it opens up its wings there. And it's there to heal and to open the space. So as you breathe and as I play this singing bowl, imagine that the wings are gently flapping open and moving energy in and out of the chakra, opening that space and bringing this sort of newfound power to that area. And just breathe. And imagine maybe that you see other butterflies around you. You could have them on the back, maybe one on each shoulder, which is helping you sort of pull your own wings out, if you will, your sort of higher self. So imagine that anywhere that you need healing, that a butterfly can go there. If you're having problems with your heart, if you're having migraines, if you're having problems with your hips, see the butterflies going to the part of your body that need to be healed, see them moving their wings, and see the energy kind of pumping in and out of that area until it becomes clearer and cleaner and brighter. And at the end of this, you could see your energy just turning into pure, bright white light, because they're going to be working with all the colors of the rainbow to heal you. Keeping your eyes closed, I want you to take one of the deepest and longest breaths that you've ever taken. Really just allow for all of that energy that you've been working on to open up. Allow your throat to open wide. You can even breathe through your mouth if you'd like to. And on the exhale, push out any fear, doubt, uncertainty, anything that's of a lower frequency that you don't need or want anymore. Send it out into the forest. Allow each and every molecule of all the plants to sort of absorb that energy and completely take that from you. You don't need it anymore. They're going to recycle it. You don't need it. Feeling your throat is open, feeling your heart is open, feeling your mind is clear. Now realize that you can do anything you set your mind to. Okay? Let's take a look now at your final question that you might have for me. So with this, we keep it in our heads. It's a silent psychic question. But if there's someone or something that you need clarity on, pull that into your mind at this moment. I'm going to shuffle the cards in front of me, and I'm going to ask Spirit to give us a message. What is it that you need to know to answer this question? I look at it in two ways. For those of you that have a yes/no, I'll do my best to give a yes/no, or at least qualify what to pay attention to. And then for the rest of you, we're going to go deeper into the other symbols. All right, so we have the Knight of Spirals coming through, which is Knight of Wands. I always have to double check myself with this deck. All right, so with the Knight of Spirals, what I would say for you is it's a yes. You already know it's a yes. You just need to stop overthinking it, because much like the King of Spirals at the top, I love wands, but they can sometimes get stuck in their heads. So for this, simply move forward with what it is that you believe. Now, it's interesting that we have a pirate on this one. And what I was looking at with the contractual stuff earlier was saying just to be discerning. So if someone in your life is kind of tricky when it comes to, or just not very accountable when it comes to communication, you definitely want to hold them to be accountable or more accountable. But generally speaking, as a yes/no, this is a yes. The thing that is missing from this yes, though, is that you need to trust yourself or trust the person that you're moving in, like whatever it is that you're kind of moving towards. There's something missing in the trust. So go in and ask the tough questions, because we saw the Moon card, and that's going to help you. With the Knight, sometimes it's you that needs to take the action. A king and a queen have the luxury of waiting. A page and a knight have to do the work. So with the Knight, there's also a responsibility to act the best way that you can. Typically, knights should be chivalrous. They should be sort of respectable. So this is heightening, not heightening, but this is raising the frequency of what you were kind of communicating. Always elevating. That was the other thing that I wanted to say. So elevate and raise that frequency, and that's going to help quite a bit as well. There might be some travel involved with this, or you might have to reach out, because this particular Knight has a nautical theme to it. It has a little bit of what I would see maybe with the Three of Wands. So for some of you, there's like a hidden Three of Wands in this card, and I would say you're starting to pick up on positive feedback. Continue doing what you're doing, because this is an indication that you're in the right direction. He's holding with him what looks like, it's probably not a telescope, periscope, is that what it's called? Whatever. He's basically looking at the future, looking out in the distance. So you're going to have to kind of look here and look here. So you're going to have to be present, do some of that legwork, and for some of you, a little bit of reaching out of your geographical boundaries. So you have a message that people care about. So spread it further than where you're at. So that could be pulling you out of your comfort zone a little bit. Anyway, that is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please, like I said, hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. I'm going to be live again at the end of the week. I'm off this Thursday just because I had a doctor's appointment, but I'll be back on Friday. And I'm trying to finish up Apollo's video, so I might launch it this week. It's his anniversary, adoption anniversary. So, and he was rescued, so I just wanted to tell the story. So hopefully I'll get a chance to put it out in the next week, the next 7 days. I can commit to that much, and you'll see that soon. But in the meantime, I'll be back later this week. Follow me on my social media channels, and also keep an eye on my website for more information. Thanks again to everyone that showed up today. Thanks to Maria for helping moderate. And I really appreciate all of you guys. All right. Have a great week. Good luck on everything. And remember that you have what it takes to make this happen, because we have a lot of spirals here, a lot of wands at the end. So the Two of Wands and the Knight of Wands especially are showing me that you just want to stay true to that vision. Okay. Don't get caught up in someone else's web. You deserve something better, and don't be afraid to speak your mind. It's going to be all right, guys. All right. Take care. Much love and light, and have a great week ahead. Okay. And a great month ahead too. Bye-bye. Thank you.